everybody, Andrew here. I'd like to start this video off by saying a big thank you to Paul Doyle, who's one of the incumbents on the Irish Vaping Facebook page. Paul got in touch with me a while back ago. He got a new mod, which he's delighted with, and then asked if I'd like to have a look at it and maybe do a review. Which I said absolutely, and again thanks to him for lending it to me. Now, this is not a cheap mod. It's a variable wattage mod, but it is it's definitely at the sort of the high end of mods. So probably the best thing is I'll show it to you. So this is what it comes in. This well, whatever, multi-function container, which looks like it's made of aluminium, but it's coated in something or other. It's sort of slightly sparkly, and we see we've got pipeline here. So this is the pipeline mod from Decodes. I think that's the way you say it. Excuse me. This is a German manufacturer, and this company was set up by two guys, Patrick and Andy, in 2011 in Germany, and they have a lot of quite a number of bricks and mortar shops, but obviously they've got web shops as well. It's also available in the UK, the Netherlands, and various other different places. And this isn't the only mod that they do, but this is the one that I'm looking at. So anyway, to take it out, straightforward enough. Just pull that out there like that, and there is our mod at the top of it. So this is it, the Pipeline Pro. And you can see we have the name there. Really nice screen on it, which is all sort of set beautifully in. I'll show this up close to you shortly, but you know, I mean, this is serious workmanship. And then on the reverse side there, we've got a minus at the bottom, which that's obviously where the minus, the negative part of the battery goes, and then a plus at the top. Your fire button, which is a nice little clicky button. And then on the bottom, we have a vent hole, and then by Decodes and made in Germany. And then looking at the top here, you can see we've got plenty of air channels here, and then we've got a pin in the middle, 510 connection. This pin is not floating. So the feel of it is fabulous. This is a weighty thing. So I think, you know, the initial impression of it is it's just, this is class. This is real top end stuff. And at the price, it's hardly surprising, because in euro, this is 18,500. There's also an 18,650 version of it available. In euro, it's 184 euro. And in sterling, that's 155 sterling. So this is top end price wise, but certainly from the initial feel and everything, it's top end quality wise as well. So probably the best thing is we go down close, have a look at it, and we'll go through it. What I'll probably do is, because one of the things about this particular mod is it's got a huge range of functions. You can customize it in whatever way you want, and there's basically two sets of instructions, or two sets of settings that you can do. There's the standard ones, and these are settings that you would do on a regular basis, and then there's sort of a hidden menu as well, which is stuff that you can set up initially when you're setting it up, but the likelihood is that you're not going to change that much. So that's further down the chain, if you like, which I think is quite clever. You know, have on the initial part of your menu for settings, the stuff that you change frequently, and then on the back end, you know, which is a few more clicks away, you have all the stuff that you're going to change very infrequently, which is really just your initial setup stuff. So enough of that, let's go down close and have a look at the Pipeline Pro. Okay, so here it is. This is the container I showed you already, and here's the mod. So, going through it again quickly, the screen. Now let's see if we can, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. You might go in a little bit closer on it. It'll stay in focus. So there's the screen. It's a red, sort of reddy orange kind of display on it there, but again very nicely sort of chamfered in with a flat piece of glass or perspex in there to actually cover it. But very clear, just 2 digits there, 2 LEDs to show you all of the information. Looking at the top here, we have our air holes, plenty of them for anything that's sitting flush on it. And as I mentioned, you know, sitting flush can be an issue with some atomizers, but many of them do sit flush. But any of them that require air from the bottom, they'll be able to get them through this here. And we can see inside there we've got the pin, a little bit scruffy at the moment, and that pin is set, so it's not floating. 510 connection. You can see here, this is where they put the serial number on it, which in this case is 0122. Then as we move down the back, button here, very, very nice button. It's a small sort of pip button, but I don't know whether you can hear it. There's a nice little click when you actually use it. Running down here, pipeline the name, we've got a plus, the standard sort of plus sign for a positive for a battery, and then a minus down here. And then looking at the bottom there, made in Germany by Decodes. Now, that is, as far as I know, how you say it, but it could be Dicodes or Dicodes or whatever you want to call it yourself. Just looking at the end here, when we unscrew it, and there is virtually no noise on those threads. They are absolutely, I mean, probably some of the best threads I've ever come across. They're reasonably chunky ones, which I'm always in favour of, because some of the very fine ones can be a bit of a pain. But no, absolutely beautifully made. So that's it. The finish is gorgeous on it. As I said, this is really, really quite weighty. You know, without the battery, this version, the 18500, is 136 grams. So it's fairly heavy yoke. And then the actual length of this is 95 millimeters. So that's from here to here is 95 millimeters. So that's basically it, but you know, it is one that feels really good in the hand. I mean, it is beautifully made, very, very solid, so excellent that way. So what I'm going to do now is I'll go through each of the functions. I'll probably break them up one by one because there's so many of them, otherwise I'm just going to confuse the hell out of myself as well as confusing you. So we'll go through them one by one and take it from there. So, first menu item is power up, so we press that. It's on 13 at the moment, and as I press the button, it goes up in 0.5 increments, 0.5 of a watt. The little dot at the side is showing the 0.5, so 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, and I'll continue up to say 12 watts here. 11.5, 12 watts. I let it go, and it is now set. Menu item 2 is power down. So if I press this and press it again, I now have power down. So essentially it's doing what we did before, but in reverse, going again back down in 0.5 increments. And each of these menus round robins. So once you hit the bottom, which is 5 watts, it'll go back up to 20, and you can bring it down from there. So we'll say bring it down to 12. Next is menu item 3, which is check ohms. Oh, I missed it there. Go back around. CO, check ohms, and in this case it's 1.6. Next one is check battery, which is there, 4.1. And basically that's what that's doing is it's just saying what the battery voltage is under light load. So in other words, the power that's left in the battery. Next one is item number 5, which is set battery, which is there, set battery. Now that's set for 2.9 at the moment, and essentially what this is you can specify the minimum voltage at which the Pipeline Pro will shut down the battery. So in other words, to protect it from over draining. So dependent on the battery, you can set that down to, apparently some of the IMR batteries will happily go down to 2.7 volts. So you can set them down to 2.7 volts. So in other words, it will keep pulling power out of the battery up until the point that it hits 2.7 volts, and then it'll shut it off at that stage so that it doesn't drain the battery unnecessarily and shorten the life of the battery. The next one here is HP, which is heat protection. Now, with this heat protection, what they say is even at a higher watt setting, it preserves the taste of your e-liquids. Enable this function 01 or disable 00. By default, the function is disabled. In the functions menu, there are 10 different configurations available. Now, this is a little bit of a mystery to me, this particular one. I think essentially what it is that it tries to stop the coil overheating and potentially burning the liquid. And it probably does that by pulsing it somehow, so that you're getting the power there, but you're not overheating it. But to be honest, I'm not completely sure. The next one is item number 7, which is switch off. And if I switch it off, it's now off. So if I press the fire button, nothing happens. So to get it back on again, I have to press it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, it was almost 5 times. I may have just inadvertently pressed it once. But anyway, it's back on now doing its job. So to get to the extended function area, we're going right the way through to extended function. Okay, and then we get our little flicks there. Luminosity is the first one of those. So what that does is, as you can probably see there, it makes it brighter or less bright. So the brightest one there, 5, is really quite bright. So let's leave it back down somewhere in the middle at 3. Our second one is heat protection control. Now that's set at 9 at the moment. To be honest, I really don't know what this one's about. It is all to do with sort of preserving the flavour of your liquid at different sort of levels, so that the coil doesn't overheat and burn your liquid. But to be honest, I haven't really been able to see any huge difference in it. But that's not to say that there isn't. And maybe it depends on the coil that you have in place. The amount of power that you're putting through, the ohmage of the coil, even could be down to the liquid as well. So look, it's an area that for the boffins, I'm sure that they'd be mad into, but for me, it just goes right above my head. Item number 3 is switch off time. And this basically switches it off after a certain amount of time. The factory setting is 5 minutes, but what you can do is change it to different amounts of time there, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9. So it's basically, it looks like it's up to 10 minutes, is it? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we're back to 1 again, yeah. So basically the automatic shutdown of the device after a given time. When setting the switch off time, the value in the display appears in minutes. The factory setting is 5 minutes. Right, the next one is on clicks, again within the extended function area. So hang on, let's go back around again. On clicks. And I've now set that to 5. It was set at 3 earlier on, so that's why I was getting it to go on, when I was counting out 5 and it was going on before it actually was due to go on. That's because it had been set by 3, obviously by Paul when he was doing it. Right, the next one in our extended function list is activation menu clicks. So let's go through to that, which is this one here, and it's on 2 at the moment, but say we can change it to 3. So that means that it takes 3 clicks to actually get me into the activation, to get me into the menu. Number 6 is click time. Change the length of time the menu is displayed. 1 is a short display time, 3 is a long display time. Factory setting is 3. So again, we go into our extended function. Let's bring it around to it. Extended function, press it again, and then we're going through to CT. Sorry, I keep missing it here because I'm looking at it from above and it's saying 2 at the moment, 1, 2 and 3, so let's leave it at 3. The next one is error codes or error check. So there we go, error check. 0 means that it's on, it'll show errors, and 0, 0 means it's off, and 0, 1 means that it's on. So if it's on 0, 1, it'll show error codes. If it's on 0, 0, it won't show error codes. Okay, item number 8 in our, let's go around again, missed it again. Jesus, here we go. Extended function, press it again. We're into our extended menu, and then we want to go through to HO. So this one here. And basically what that is you've got two options, 0, 1 and 0, 0. 0, 0 basically means that half watt increments are disabled. This is when you're setting the power up and down. And 0, 1 means that it's enabled. So if I put that to 0, 0, that means that it's only going to go up in 1 watt increments. If I have it on 0, 1, it'll go up in half watt increments. That's for when you're in the main menu and you're setting the power up and down. And then finally, if we go back to our extended functions and we cycle through to SD at the end, what that does is it factory resets everything. So that means that everything goes back to how it was originally done in the beginning, when you actually received it. So I think what's important to note about all of this is, and my head is wrecked after going through them all, most of those functions in the extended area you're going to set up at the beginning and you're not going to need to set them again. Well, I have to say my head is melted after that, but I have another vape. The one thing about this menu, the whole menu system within it, is the fact that it's two-tiered. I think that's great. All the stuff you're going to be changing generally is easy to get to. Very intuitive, no problems at all. Any of the stuff, which is kind of, you're not really going to be changing that much, that all lives on the second level in the extended functions area. You don't really need to go there once you've set it up at the beginning. And then I think one of the great things is that after you've been pushing things up and down and and it's like the whole thing of a graphic equalizer. For any of you remember what those things were, everybody wanted a graphic equalizer with loads and loads of buttons right the way across it, and every song that came on you'd be bringing up the bass and the mid-ranges and sort of setting the whole thing all over the place, and then the next song will come on and you'd be out there and you'd be doing the whole thing again and everything. But inevitably what happened to everybody was, after a while, they just said, "Feck that," and they just leave it as it is. And you know what I think? For the most part, with the extended functions within this particular item, within the pipeline, you're just going to leave them. And the only ones that you're really going to change, if any, are the ones at the upper level, the upper tier, which are really easy to get to, which is going to be power up and power down. And really, in the end, that's what I'd be doing anyway. I did mention that the 510 connection in it isn't a floating connection, nor is it adjustable. So that leads to certain issues with certain atomizers. It's something that I understand why this sometimes, they have these fixed pins there because of the electronics underneath them. But at the same time, some manufacturers get around it by either having a screw in there so you can screw it up and down, or you know that it's just on a spring so the contact is always there, but there's enough play, you know, within the actual contact, so it's got a couple of mils up and down, so it means that you can fit anything on. Because to be honest with this, if the price isn't an issue for you, which for me it's not really for something as good as this, you know, you should be able to fit everything flush onto it, but unfortunately you can't. So I'm just going to show you a couple of things on it. As ever, I always go back to my, if I can find it here, to my K-Fun, which probably, you know, gets used every day at some stage or another. And so I'll just put this on and you can see what sort of a gap we have here. So there it is. That's with the K-Fun on it. And that's screwed down as far as it's going to go. And I mean, it vapes beautifully. That's at 11 watts. So there's no question but that it functions very well. That's the only little niggle there. So let's just try a couple of other things. So that's the K-Fun. I'll put on a dripper here. This is the Striker from Atmo Mechani. And we'll see what that looks like on it. And that one is perfectly flush. That goes on, no issues at all. That's lovely. So let's try another couple. The Nautilus. Nautilus generally shouldn't have too much of a problem because it's actually got a sprung bottom on the top, sprung bottom on the bottom of its connection. And as you can see here, let's just set my air hole right here. It goes flush as well, so I think that looks really, really quite smart on it. And works a treat as well. Now, next one, I haven't got anything in this at the moment, but this is the X-Promiser, which is a kind of, what is it? It's kind of like, I haven't done the video on this yet, I'm going to have to do it soon. This is somewhere between a sort of a K-Fun and a Typhoon. So, let's put it on, see what it looks like. Now, this is a 23 mil. This is 22 mil, so you're going to have a bit of a sort of a ledge at the side there, but it does actually screw on flush to it. Is there anything else here that I have? Not immediately to hand. So you can see of those, most of the ones that I've tried on it fit fine, but there are a couple of them that actually don't. The K-Fun being sort of one of the main ones. So, to sum it up, what do I think about it? I think it is a beautifully engineered piece. I think the price point for it is reasonably high at 184, but then again, you know, if you look at one of those, a Provari, that's 220, I think it is. So it's not the most expensive mod out there, but I do think it is absolutely gorgeous. I really do. And for me, if you have the money and if you're looking for something which is really classy, which is going to last you a long time, I think that this is, I think it's a very, very good option, to be honest. And it's going to hurt me to give it back to Paul Doyle. In fact, I might just drop off the radar for a while and you know, just feign that my broadband has gone down or something like that so he can't get in touch with me. But no, again, thanks Paul for the loan. Great device. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video and you learned something from it. Thanks again, and we'll see you again soon. Cheers.